Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, another part of Resetted Minds. Please ignore the cicadas. I didn't want Alicia's BFDI watching to interfere with the video. Even though cicadas are probably worse. Anyway, let's begin. It was time to restart again. It was enjoyable having a life where I was loved. I loved it beyond anything I had ever had in my first life. I figured out fairly soon that you could save your resets. And everything that I ever created in my first life or second life, when it came to the world of imagination, was saved. Even really old stuff that I saw is very cringy, such as my Cuphead OCs, or the millions upon millions of different Jewel characters. I decided to reset as a Shadow-like creature from all the way into the year 1900. When I entered, I was supposed to look like a shadow coming from another world. And I decided to watch human beings from a faraway stance. I had a special computer. Well, not computer. Camera. I had a special camera. Excuse me. I had a special camera that videotaped everything and could save all that I needed to save. It had plenty of space for new stuff, so I was always recording what I discovered on that day. Watching human beings. I continued and continued, and eventually human beings began making up stories about me, calling me the shadow that watches overhead. I didn't do anything to human beings other than watch and create videos about how interesting human beings are from a distance, which is true. There's a whole lot more that you can learn about people just by watching them instead of being part of what's going on. Then the years that I was part of showed up, 2005. I decided to go ahead when YouTube finally came out, sometime in February I believe, to create myself an account and post every single one of those videos. Yes, I knew I was going back to YouTube, but I really just wanted to post these videos about me every single day, talking again and again about what I discovered about people from an outside perspective. When people got more and more interested in YouTube, which was the years later, they noticed a strange channel called Shadow Shade. In the description of the channel it said, "My name is Shadow Shade, and I am a creature called the Darkener. I've been watching human beings since the year 1900. If you want to go ahead and see my videos about what I've discovered, go into the past, or possibly go later into time. Any day is quite alright, if you're willing to listen to me." My voice, I decided to change to a very low and very interesting voice. Essentially a female version of Click. Please don't look him up. Unless you really want to see the weirder side of Reddit. Anyway. My videos were comforting for some people to watch. And because they were very outside of what you would normally know about YouTube and the things that happened in the 1900s, people watched non-stop. People didn't know who I was exactly, but I said I was a Darkener, not a human being. So people began making up stories about me again, saying that the shadow that watches overhead might be Shadow Shade, the YouTuber. People kept talking and talking until they finally got over it, even though I still continuously made a single video every single day. It was constant. Every single day, I'd post another video talking about what I've learned about human beings. A few more years passed, and finally it gets to 2000. Well, almost. It was the last few hours of 2019. And my video there said 2020 is going to be practically hell of a year. So I warn you, humans. I warn you. 2020 is going to be very, very strange. About as strange as what I saw in WW2. That's what I called World War II in my videos. People ignored it though. Despite me making a prediction, it was the first time I had ever made a prediction in my videos, so most people didn't really seem interested in it. However, 2020 did turn out to be a wretched year. I kept talking about how different areas in my videos were dealing with such a virus, Corona. And I don't really care if YouTube gets mad at me for saying such a thing, because in the future nobody's gonna kind of crap. I said that in the US there were riots. In China things are being fully locked down. And other locations are having their fair share of annoyances. Well, I soon realized I was uninterested in this life. In my opinion, it was boring. All I did was watch. I practically did nothing else. Boring, 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 I thought. I'm gonna have to reset again, aren't I? So I did, and changed a few things. I was still a shadow from before, but this time I was much more prominent. I decided to become, well, the president of US. Everyone knew that I had been there since the 1900s, and didn't really know why I was still well and living. The people didn't really care about it. I was technically a citizen. I had been there since the very beginning. So I was able to run. My videos did exist again. And everyone was curious. So they voted. A creature that was neither human nor even alien in their opinions. I won Trump close in the votes. So I wanted to make myself some moves. One of my powers as this shadow state was essentially control. I can control the other branches of the US and essentially completely take over it. And there is nothing they could do to get me out. I can make it seem as if I was a ruler of another kind. I made quick changes. Ones I saw in the YouTube videos I had watched way back in my first life. I knew these were going to be benefits for the US, as being controlled or taken over by a creature that couldn't die, or really couldn't really do much else, and for the longest of time had just watched. I felt important. I labeled the US system as crumbling and failing, and we needed to, well, change it. And so I did. Changed the rules. I made a public health system, but in such a way that people didn't seem too happy about it. Many people complained on the internet that what I was doing wasn't for the benefit of human beings in the US. They contradicted this with more videos stating my plans, saying that I've been watching human beings for quite a long while, and probably the most disrespectful, destructive, and unorganized people that started out as such a wonderful group were Americans. Not the natives, as they were much better. even if they've been mercilessly murdered. I stated that my plans for the U.S. to essentially break it down into a new state. 2 states, actually. One could stay the ordinary United States, while the other could follow my rules and go under a monarchy instead of whatever the U.S. used. I don't remember what it's called. It's not a democracy. We don't use a democracy here. It's something else. Anyway, I essentially took over half the state, with my little changes making me the sole ruler of this new group. The people there, though, after realizing they couldn't do anything to change what was going on, became angry and enraged. New rules are being set in place. If your state had a higher percentage of overweight or unhealthy people, your taxes would go up to ensure the health of the overweight and underweight people. And the people that were just sick, they weren't counted in that voicing, but they did count in the percentage. People were not too pleased with this, till they realized how unhealthy Americans were. People got mad, really mad at the overweight, because their tax money was going to those who were going to waste it on getting junk. The rules are implemented. I enjoyed this quite a lot now. But I probably would never come back to it. It was uninteresting. Everything just went right to plan. So I decided I wouldn't keep this one around. And that's the end of that one. See you tomorrow in the next vid. Sorry it wasn't as great as the last 3.